These little ragtag teams below 1500 CP are gonna beat Giovanni and his Shadow Kyogre team right now, but how are they gonna do it? First thing happens almost immediately when you see a switch out right away. This applies to every Team Go Rocket fight, but right here you're gonna see there's stun time essentially on every switch out or fainting, as well as every charge attack, and that's whether you do it or whether Team Go Rocket does. So if you observed that, basically, in this case it's Persian. Persian stood still for just about 3 seconds, which is really valuable time. It's not going to be damaging you, you can be building up your energy, so that is key. Always put the Pokemon that you want to start with not in the first spot, meaning switch immediately to that Pokemon after the fight has begun. So need I remind you the reason or definition that these teams being ragtag, that just means they're below 1500 CP, so you could obviously use the same Pokemon but higher. You could put them in the 2s and 3000s, but even then there's still a few things that you should do to position yourself for victory, and the next one is right here. You handle the battle differently depending on which team lineup Giovanni throws at you, and it's not just the Pokemon that he chooses, but also the movesets of those Pokemon. So Persian is a great example, it's perfect. The fight can go really differently depending on if Persian has Scratch or if it has Feint Attack. This Persian that we're fighting has Scratch, and so I would argue, probably most people would too, Scratch is usually the more difficult of the two, and need this be said, it's probably obvious, but this video is just for people who struggle with the Team Go Rocket fights. You know, it's not for anybody that's just looking to like outmuscle Giovanni without any strategy, just kind of use, 4000 CP legendaries or whatever. No. So if Persian has Feint Attack, you can really just use most of your fighting Pokemon that are worth their salt. You don't want them to be too weak, but pretty much all of my videos are below 1500 CP, so I mean, you can check the entire library here on YouTube that I have of content. And so because we stick below that Great League level CP cap, you can see that I do actually lose those Pokemon before the Persian is down, but it's okay. We can kind of parlay this into part of our strategy. And so going back to that point of not just which Pokemon Giovanni throws at you, but also the move sets that they have, well, you're gonna see a Garchomp right here that has 2 different moves. So the Garchomp on the left, it's using Mud Shot, whereas the Garchomp on the right is using Dragon Tail. So this kind of gives us a great segue into our next strategy or category for victory is going to be, you've got to use your type advantages or strengths and weaknesses, resistances, etc. So you want to resist as much of the typing of the enemy's fast attack as you can. Double resist if possible, but you can see in the case of Garchomp right here, the Alolan Ninetales, it's specifically Alolan, not only because it's ice, so that's going to be super effective, right, which is actually majorly super effective against Garchomp. Alolan Ninetales is part fairy, right, so also if you had like Alolan Sandslash, again specifically Alolan, it's steel, so those are going to resist the dragon part of Dragon Tail, whereas on the left side, Abomasnow, that was great, right? Grass resists ground from Mud Shot, so wonderful. Something else you might have noticed is we do charge attacks super often, so that is our next point. This is going to help you a lot, again, only if you struggle, but essentially what I call spammy fast attack and charge attack combos on the Pokemon that you choose. So like I say at the beginning, this team that we've chosen on both screens, they may look puny on the surface with their CPs all below 1500, but they all have fast attacks that generate a lot of energy per hit, while also having charge attacks that don't require much energy to use. So just to reiterate that point, again, like you go back to our first strategy of observing that stun time or stagnation period where Team Go Rocket is just going to stand still. That's after every charge move, not just every fainting and every switch. That's all fine and dandy too. You got to use that. And of course, I do want to catch that screen on the right is actually going to intentionally fail right here. And that's because I needed to save a Super Rocket Radar to show you guys another video. But you can see, like this Ninetales, I would have used the charge attack. We would have won already, right? The Ferrothorn probably could have beaten it. The Ninetales would have beaten it right there. Just, I abstained from using a charge move. So again, that was because we needed to save the Super Rocket Radar. Okay, you get the point. So you probably saw it in the title. It may not sound super nice, but it says, even if you suck. What's that about? Well, sure, it's a little YouTube hook or whatever for the title, but the last thing that you can know about Team Go Rocket fights, this goes for any of them, not just Giovanni, the CP amount of their Pokemon, it will actually go higher or lower based on what your trainer level is. So the higher that your trainer level, the higher their CP amounts are going to be. The game might be trying to make it harder for you, if you're a higher level or whatever, but that's good news even if you suck, right? Because I'm here to tell you, you don't suck first off, but also it's kind of an advantage if you're in the 20s, if you're level 30 something, because the screen on the left in today's video was a level 41 account, and the screen on the right was a level 48 account. Just by comparison, even with those two, you saw that the Kyogre on the left was obviously less, right? 18,000 approximately, and then the one on the right was 19,000 approximately, so hopefully that that illustrates the point, but you know, if you just need some more options, a little bit more talk of strategies and things, please click an end screen on screen and catch another video on this channel. And thanks for viewing.